I'm more curious about the Audio Culture LLC and the creation of that. Like I know a decent portion of how it was created and the kind of like the original story. I've heard a million times from like Chef, from you yourself, but it's really important for them to know because the playlists are very important, I find, in the dining experience. So when making Audio Culture LLC, when they were passed off the responsibility to you, they don't have enough time to make a playlist that's hip hop centric that they enjoyed, but also give attention to the restaurant. So starting off the brand then into doing it now in a COVID environment, how was your vision started and how did it change?
You know, when we look back and we talk about the good times and what we did as a group, Robert is very transparent, and in turn I feel I have to be as well when we talk about music. The original concept of playing hip-hop in the space of Charlie Bird was borderline selfish and very personal for Robert. He knew that he was going to be in the space for 12 hours at a minimum a day. And for those of you who do not know Robert Bohr, he's a phenomenal dude that grew up in Jersey and bleeds hip-hop. But, you know, Robert talks about how he wanted to listen to hip-hop because he didn't want to hear any bullshit-ass music, you know, within his space while he was working, you know. So hip-hop was the default, you know. And that's how it started. So before I even became friends with these guys that I was working with, I was bonded on that level of music, right? So they basically had two playlists that we listened to over and over, and they got tired really quickly.
Yeah, of course.
Before, when I was working in those corporate environments, all that we did was listen to those, you know, radio stations that streamed over their corporate PA systems. And
Pandora Business or like the whatever
trash,
cloud,
bro.
yeah, whatever
Just
cloud
trash.
system you're using. It's fucking annoying.
And so I didn't have. It's not like I thought about, oh man, maybe I can do music and they'll let me do it, right? I had no ambition to do that. I was just a loudmouth, outspoken dude that worked on the floor and felt comfortable talking to Robert as a friend, nerding out on music. And it was Robert, actually, who came to me one day and he said, Charlie, he says, listen, he's like, I'm kind of getting tired of the music. I know that you guys are too. I don't have the time to put music together, you know, on a list. He's like, we basically have these two that we play all the time. And then other than that, we were doing like radio stations, but you can't rely on a radio station, right?
No.
So he says, why don't you go home? He's like, do you have an iPad? I was like, I have an iTouch. You know. He says, go home, use your iTouch. He's like, do you have a bunch of music you can put in? I'm like, hell yeah, I've been collecting music my whole life. Put a bunch of music on it, bring it in. If it works, we'll play your music and then we'll figure it out in the long run. And that was how Audio Culture started. It was Robert realizing that he didn't have the time to give the attention to that detail of his space that he wanted to matter, because it was them that wanted music to matter. I just love that it did. It wasn't my vision, it was theirs, right? And that was the beginning of it. It bubbled. We were doing something that wasn't really done before. We didn't invent the wheel, but we put a really nice spinner on it.
That motherfucker was sitting on dubs.
We weren't the first.